Hey, hey, hey.
Camerae.
Watching Camerae.
Oh my.
On Camerae.
Hello.
Music, TV.
Are you listening to me?
So enjoy yourself.
This girl is always
so
singing.
Enjoy yourself.
Hello. Camerae, come on. It's time to start the show.
Oh.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Camerae, and I'm back with another episode of Just Trying to Figure It Out, or hashtag JTFIO on this podcast. And I'm super excited to be back. I'm always excited to be back with you guys. Extra excited today because we are on Thanksgiving break. The food is out. Okay. We got stuff set aside. We know what we cooking. We know where it's going. You know, when you cooking in an apartment, you got to maneuver around in lots of little sections. Stuff start to look a little crazy if you got too much out at one time. It's really a headache. So ready to get a house. But I have more to announce. And we're going to get into that a little bit later, but I have a Black Friday surprise type of thing going down for you all. And I'm excited about it. Y'all know I'd be excited about everything, but I'm super duper excited about this. And I'll announce that later on. Let me put this in my notes because I will forget. I type in loud plug. Ready. Okay. All right, so we are back. I have grading to do. I have homework to do. I have all these things. You guys are hopefully with your families or traveling to your families, or if you're newlywed. If you're a newlywed like myself, you're preparing your couple Thanksgiving, right? Or you're on a beach somewhere enjoying life and you're just listening to your podcast while you're on the plane on the way there, or chilling on the beach. Whatever is your stilo. Just make sure you're spending Thanksgiving being thankful and grateful and around good people or in good company and around some good food. I've heard about some different themed Thanksgivings, Mexican theme, seafood themed. I just love it because a lot of the Thanksgiving food, it gets boring sometimes, but I appreciate the Thanksgiving food. What is your favorite side dish? That mac and cheese and candy yam marriage together, you just can't, you can't touch it. Can't touch this. Ain't that what I look like? If you're watching, I said last time, if you're watching visually, but if you're watching period, you'll see that I'm in a flashy gold MC Hammer type of top, and that's why you can't touch this. All right, so I'm sure you have heard by now about this whole T.I. mess. All right, I try to stay out of the celebrity gossip because celebrities are people. People go through things. I go through my own stuff, and I would hate, just because I'm famous, to have my stuff on Front Street. But I also believe that some people put their stuff out there a little bit more because they have TV shows and they have podcasts and they have social media handles where they speak out about other people's stuff, other people's business, like The Real, like, you know, all these people, right? So let me first start out, before I just completely drag T.I. and tie it into a social issue like only I can do. Let me first start out by saying that I have a love for T.I. Okay. I love his music, know all the words, pretty much all the words from like the first couple albums. Always love his persona, especially because he was like this person that was screwing up really bad, in and out of jail, drugs, guns, turns his life around. Now he's an entrepreneur. Now he's an activist. Now he's this father figure on TV, the hip hop Cosby, and, you know, all of this, right? And so I had a special place in my heart for T.I. had a special place in my heart for Chris Brown. Even my mom likes T.I. and Chris Brown. Okay, so when I started seeing this whole stuff with Tiny, you know, I would notice little hints of, okay, this is not the way I would want to be in a relationship, but this is them, and if she like it, I love it. And, you know, from her taking pictures with from her, I guess, them going to jail in LA off Rodeo Drive, I think. That little thing was a little weird. I could barely remember the story, but I remember feeling a way about Tiny's part in it. From the Floyd Mayweather stuff to him just, messing and creeping around with the girl from Green. I can't even remember the show. The show about the church on OWN. Green. I can't remember the show. Anyway, so the actress from that, she was backstage. He was smacking her on the butt. And, a lot of people know that she didn't have no problem with him doing it. So that just kind of lets you know, like, there was something already going on there. And then, Tiny actually taking a stand and taking a break and getting her own place. And then that seeming to kind of get him together. And then them moving back together into this remodeled house. And then him still having some of these same rules. We found out that he didn't want her all this time when she wasn't singing and furthering her career. It was because of him. He didn't feel like he wanted his wife to work. And then that was another time where I had a crossroad where I realized, like, not every woman wants to be this independent woman who's out getting her own. Some women want to be at home kept. Some women want to be a housewife. Some women really desire that, and that's fine. And so it just had me wondering, like, what conversation did she have with him when she got married? Was there a conversation? And then is there grace for when people change, when you change your mind, when you start out and you're like, I'll be the housewife, I'll raise your kids, I'll cook your meals, as long as you make sure I'm kept and these kids are kept and this household is kept. And then later on down the line, you're like, I'm kind of tired of this. I want to do this, this, and that. Was T.I. receptive to this? Did he have to learn to be receptive to this? No. He seemed like he was very stubborn on it. And if all this other stuff wasn't going on, would she have had this space to have the escape reunion and do all this stuff, right? Okay, so all that being said, like T.I. for a long time, he has the ultimate swag, legendary rapper. But the womanizer stuff just started to cause me to raise an artificial eyebrow, right? So, okay, so he's been in the news recently because he was on a podcast with Miguel's wife. She has a podcast with someone. Everybody got a podcast right now, okay? He was on the podcast and they were interviewing him. And they were saying how beautiful his daughters were. He has Deja, who is his only girl, I believe, but he did have a hand in raising Zanique. And so Deja just turned 18, just graduated from high school. And he says, just turned 18. He's saying all the stuff that a dad would say about his daughter, right? And then they're saying, I bet you have your hands full. And so this is when he takes the time to explain that he has like a mandate, yearly checkups to ensure her hymen is intact. Now the ladies are laughing, and as I was listening, even before the narrative of everybody's saying how wrong this is, I always try to listen with an open ear to see before anybody else clouds how I feel, because there's a lot of opinions that come at me all day because I'm just consuming content all day. I just wanted to hear the clip first to see how I felt. And I immediately felt uncomfortable. Okay. He's bragging about how he tells the doctor, give me my results. And the doctor lets him know, like, your daughter's whatever age, she needs to sign this in order to give consent or whatever. And then T.I. looks at his daughter and says, do you have a problem? You hiding anything from me? Okay, cool. Which is bullying, right? And so in a sense. And so all this to say that all this goes down, he gets his results. The ladies on the podcast are laughing. He's expressing how, you got to make sure. And she doesn't do any athletics, and she doesn't do horseback riding, and she doesn't do anything else that would cause this hymen to be out of whack. Needless to say, her hymen is intact at 18 years old. Now, a few things here, right? Not only did you just tell the whole world that your 18-year-old is a virgin, which maybe she doesn't advertise this because it's not really cool to be one, right? So even if she is one and you're teaching and training her to understand that this is a treasure, this is something that is a gift, and all of this stuff, all this other mumbo jumbo that we tell young girls to have them protect this innocence, right? And don't educate on how to protect yourself if you want to be in that situation, if you get in that situation, and then how to take the shame away when you finally do the do. Instead of doing all that, you're telling the whole world that she's a virgin. Okay, her hymen is intact. Number two, the doctor and even the women on there and all these women who have expressed opinions on this have let him know that, the hymen can stay intact with sexual activity. That's number two. That's a big thing right there. Okay. So either because of ignorance or because of whatever, trying to embellish, like he said on Red Table Talk, he kind of leaves that out. Right. Number three, I distinctly remember on T.I. and Tiny Family Hustle when King is expressing that he's had sex before, and King is all of 14 years old when he's saying this. And then T.I. says at another time that he lost his V card at 11. And so T.I. has these standards, these double standards that go with boys versus girls, and it's not uncommon. So I think it's so funny that everyone is crucifying T.I. when T.I. has the notions, has the opinions, has the mindset of a lot of people from his generation and above. A lot of people from that generation feel like your virginity is something to be protected. Men take the virginity, women give their virginity. Men don't really have a virginity. Men are just inexperienced, right? So when I'm listening to this, I'm just like, I just totally exclude, like, I take away the fact that it's T.I. because T.I. is a representative of a lot of these men out here that believe that think that way. And it's just problematic, right? So I think for us, what I wanted to talk about is just how, as women, when you're raising women, when you're mentoring young women, if you are a young woman who is a virgin, it's just best to understand your V card and what all that means and not tie it so much to a man. Okay. Essentially, a V card or your virginity is a decision that you make to lay down with someone, right? The thing about this situation is you have a man telling you that it's not okay to do this, basically until I say, till you're 25, till you're 30, till you're married, all these things, right? And if you look back, way back in the way back, even in biblical times, this whole virginity thing, it was just talked about in a whole different sense. There weren't condoms, there weren't birth control, there wasn't all these things. And a lot of people in the Bible was like teenagers having sex. All right. So we're just in a different time where the conversation needs to change. It needs to evolve. A lot of our conversations stem from the church, and then you put your own little flair on it. You add your own little control to it. And that's what T.I. was talking about on Red Table Talk. He started to add his control in it. He started to say that there needs to be control, because without control, how are you going to stop someone from making a decision like this? And then when the decision is made, well, you're automatically an adult. Then he said something about the household changing when a daughter brings a baby home versus if a son gets someone pregnant and has a child, the household don't change. It just kind of lets you know the generational mindset that's going on there. The evolution or the lack thereof, the evolution that's just not happening. All right. But it's so funny to me because that's how people think. Okay. Back in my time, when I was coming up in high school, if your parent wanted to find out if you was having sex, they took you to the hospital. They put you on birth control. Okay. That's how it went down in high school back then. And I'm pretty sure it's still going down like that. There were not these elaborate talks about how, your virginity is something that you choose. And it was always wait till you're married, wait till you're married, wait till you're married. Nobody was talking about the sex that's going on in college. Nobody's talking about the freedom that you have. Nobody's talking about body and understanding what you have to offer and how your body functions and what it means to give yourself to someone emotionally and physically. Nobody was talking about that. And now people are talking about it now. And a lot of kids, they don't even want to do it. And that's the thing that I was wondering about Deja. It may not even be nothing about what you're talking about. And regardless of what you think is going down, Dad, T.I., she probably has already done a lot of the things that you would be surprised to know. So when you put so much pressure on the child to don't do, they're probably doing, just in a way that goes around you, because they figured you out by now. They know the energy you bring in. They know they can't even bring to you what's going down. And the only reason why I feel a little confident in saying this is because Deja was liking all kind of comments where it was saying, he's being invasive, and he's invading her privacy, totally violating her rights, and all of this stuff. She was liking a lot of that stuff. And even though he is a dad who cares, who loves his daughter and wants the best for her and wants to protect her, you're protecting her from people that are like you. Okay, we've seen you do Tiny so many crazy type of ways. And a lot of times parents do protect their children because they don't want them to turn out like them or to deal with stuff that they had to deal with. Yes, but there's a reality in that. You didn't deal with it on purpose. You dealt with it because you fell down some hole, or you went the wrong way because it was easy. It was easy to be tempted. It was harder to make a decision not to do that or to not be in that. So why would you not think that your daughter has it a little bit harder because she is a woman, because she is attractive, because she is your daughter, because she is famous, because she has thirst traps all on her stuff? Like, you have to have the talk with her. And when you're making a lighthearted joke, there is no context, because he did go on Red Table Talk trying to say it was a joke. There is no context in this podcast when you're saying, I've talked to her, I've educated her, because you have to know your influence, right? You say stuff the way you shut down, I think it was Candace Smith. You've stated claims. You've said a lot of things. People follow your every word. I'm one of them. Okay. We love you to death. But even when I downloaded, I was like, ooh, T.I. has a podcast. And I downloaded the first couple episodes, or the first episode, I think. And I was like, ooh, this is really male chauvinist heavy. On the episode with his wife, where he's talking about a part of you belongs to me, like your box belongs. It's just not. When I listen to podcasts, I like to feel uplifted. I like to laugh. I like to feel informed. I like to, be entertained. And that just was none of that. So when I heard that, it just was like, dang, like, it's like when you find out your favorite artist is a snob, or your favorite artist can't read, or your favorite artist has bad breath or is mean in person. It's just like, dang, like that persona that I had of you is just shot, and I just wish you wouldn't have ruined it. Right. So, when we sit and discuss, his comments, and we break it down between control and between gender biases and double standards, and then we break it down to generational mindsets, and then we break it down to another level of just plain old education, just refusing to be educated, because he sat on that Red Table Talk and it just looked like it was just going all everywhere except for here. And it wasn't the fact that he couldn't be told nothing, because he kept begging and pleading that Will Smith would have been there, another male aspect. And it just was like you was digging yourself in deeper, because people already think that you are this male chauvinist womanizer. So it's like when you're going to be surrounded by women, and even his little comment about, oh, I'm so sad that Willow couldn't be here. It just was like, if it would have been the way that we needed it or wanted it to be, it would have been Jada Pinkett, her mom, Willow, Deja, T.I., Deja's mama, and maybe Tiny on the sideline, and maybe Will Smith, if you really needed that dad aspect. But this was not really about the dad aspect as much as it was about Deja and how she felt in this moment. Okay, because a lot of times, parents make these decisions. They find out later that, oh, I should have did this a different way. And then they don't realize these have lasting effects. So the whole world, knowing that your hymen is intact, your first semester of college where you're already like trying to figure things out, it just was a mess. And I don't feel like Zanique had to go through this stuff. I don't know why. Maybe she did in a different way, but she didn't have to go through this stuff. But I just advocate for education over just blindly just being like, wear this purity ring and stay a virgin and until you're married. So now you're married, and all the shame that you've learned about, having sex and being active and giving yourself away to someone who is not your husband, who's not your forever person, all the shame that you've learned, it just don't go away just because you said I do. Now you have all the shame. Now you don't know your body. You don't know things that you like. You don't know none of that stuff because you have not been encouraged to learn it, and you have not spent the time exploring. And it's not to say that you have to be out here being active with multiple partners, but you just have not even gotten the education. Nobody has sat you down and said, listen, this is what I would like for you. This would be a safer route for you. But there are all these other options, and it's going to be your choice. It's going to depend on how you move in the future to decide, do you want to keep this? Do you want to give this away? To understand that who you give that away to, what that carries. And then decide, like, is it something that you give away, or is it an experience? Is it, there's just so many things that come with this V card that I don't think parents realize. When you have that talk, which is already uncomfortable, I'm sure, there's lots of trigger words that just are not going to do it. They're not going to cut it no more. Generationally, we're off that. We're not doing that. Saying to give it away, stop saying that. Okay. Because you're not giving it away. You're making a decision to do something that's going to have a lasting impact. And then you need to let them know about STDs, about AIDS, about HIV, about protection, about somebody's son who's going to be like, I don't like that, and we can do that without, and just this, and, without getting too explicit. You need to let them know about all that, because as a parent, and then you don't tell your child, and then you're wondering why you're babysitting, or you're wondering why your child don't want no kids, which is me. It's just a lot of all of that, right? And then when we get into generationally, I think it's good to express, it's good to talk about generationally, because like I was saying, I think maybe I was saying it on the Real Housewives of Atlanta review, which I post every Sunday night. I was saying that this generation, my generation and generations after me, are growing up with a different mindset of wanting to learn more. And the world is just changing, period. Asking questions, wanting to learn more, not just doing something if someone told you to. And while it can be annoying, it's good that this generation is asking questions. It's good that this generation is just like, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to do it. And you'll see that a lot of teenagers are just not even doing it because they're educated on it. They have the internet, they have resources, they have friends they can ask, and they know about all of it. And it's not cliche, and it's not like hot button words. It's just like, it is what it is. And because of that, we're finding less teenage pregnancies. We're finding less people who are just like, or more people who are just like, I'm gonna go get my education, I'm gonna get myself together, we'll talk about kids later. Like, that whole trend is rushing in. And even people who are having kids, they're married, they're together, or they're established. So all that to say, all this stemming from a TI conversation, but it's not to say that TI is the only one. TI is not the only one who thinks like that. And I'm sure there's people who are my age and younger who think like this, who feel like it's okay. There was a lot of comments like that in the shade room, like, he's a dad, and would you rather have an involved dad who's there at the hospital, or would you rather have no dad at all? And that's the thing, like, people just always be like black and white, apples and oranges, but it's not that. It's that you need to have a dad who educates you, who who is stern and strict and holds you to higher standards and shows you respect and shows you all these things, but they not just sitting in the hospital like, yeah, give me my results. It's deeper than that. You need to explain to her what's going on. And if, I was watching a video today where the dad was like having his little daughter, maybe 3 years old or 4, repeat certain things about, I am a queen and I'm going to marry a king and he must treat me with respect and he must open my doors. And it's just like the rhetoric already starts at that young age. And yeah, if that's what you want, if that's how you want to raise your child, that's you. But it's just like, it's teaching the woman that it's a man's world already. It's not saying like, as it pertains to you, the child, the young woman, you are a queen because you are a queen. You don't need a king to make you a queen. Okay. And we've been in such this mindset that a woman is not an established woman if she does not have the man next to her. She does not have the kids. And we got to get out of that. We got to get out of that. If you end up marrying a man, cool. If you marry a woman, cool. Like, the success is in the woman. The success is in the man. This black boy joy that we're promoting now, he does not become a successful black man because he finds a successful black woman. And that's just my opinion. You can be successful in your own right. I'm successful in my own right. We come together. We love each other. That's great. The last thing that I wanted to say is that a lot of times we think that we have to all be on the same sheet of music. We have to all have the same opinion, and that's just not true. There's lots of different opinions out there, and you can feel a little bit about this and feel a little bit about that and a little bit about that, and then formulate your own opinion based on all of those things. You do not have to follow the same thing. So how T.I. raises his daughter is totally his business. If he want to do her like that, if she don't have a problem with it, if she was just fine with it, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. But because she liked certain stuff, she deactivated her entire, all of her handles. Her mom expressed, the narcissism, narcissism. And we talked about that, right? Because her mom expressed that just kind of let me know, she has a problem. I identify with this because I see it, been through it, where you just like, okay, I need more than just no. I need more than just no, because there's a whole lot going on out here and no is just not enough. All right. So, telling your daughter that she can't do such and such and such and such and not offering anything else, she's going to do it. She's going to have shame attached to it. She's going to be scared to tell you about it. Or she's just going to be that person that don't do nothing. She's going to be a late bloomer. There's just so many things. But I wanted to say that a lot of people have different opinions, and people are allowed to have their opinions. You want to raise your daughter like a queen and prepare her to be married one day. That's how you run your household. But I just would like for women that I mentor, young girls that I have a hand with, to understand that there is more than just being somebody's. There's more than just being somebody's woman, somebody's wife, somebody's mother. There's a person. There's a person called you that you must equip and mold and learn and explore. And you cannot do all that if someone, even if it was her mom who's putting her in this position, I would still have the same opinion. You cannot do all that with someone mandating you to get this hymen check and not offering you anything else. Then no, while the sons are running rampant. You would be surprised to know that a lot of women feel the same way that T.I. do, because a lot of those women grew up under fathers who were very active and felt like, this is my princess, this is my queen, and don't touch. And, I grew up with lots of male influences in my life, and I just still don't feel that way. I just don't feel that way. Although I respect and honor and love the male influences in my life and the male figures in my life, it's just, I feel like women have more to offer than just this whole thing of your virginity that's in this nice little box and don't give it to anyone. And that's the way that we've been telling girls and teaching girls. And there's just more to you than that. Because if you think about it, that whole experience, it's not fun. It's not nice. It's not clean. It's a mess. Like, things are happening. We're not going to get too graphic. Things are happening where you don't really feel like a princess in that moment. So, just to keep things, like, let's just be real. Okay. In my Dej Love voice. So yeah, that's been your episode for this week. Lord knows what I'm gonna title this one, but I just really wanted to have the conversation about T.I. I wasn't going to do it because I do like him, and I do feel like celebrities, like, things happen in circles. Like, you make a dumb comment, we react, we forget about it, you bounce back. And he just kept doubling down. He just kept doubling down. In the moment where he could have redeemed himself, he didn't. So it just was like, bruh, you on Red Table Talk. And next week, they're going to talk about their marriage. And I do want to see this because I feel like Tiny stays quiet about a lot of stuff. People give her a whole lot of flack. And what I hope that she sees in the flack is that she deserves a little bit more credit. And even though I feel like, at some time she was fine playing the background and being the wife and being at home, now she wants to be back out there. Now she has ventures and businesses. And, when you are in a marriage, that person has to give you that space to change and grow and evolve and change your mind and to grow your hair out and cut your hair and dye your hair and do all these things. They have to give you that space for that, because a lot of people feel like you married this person, they're just supposed to stay the same for 50 years. Like, no. And if you did, I would get divorced because of that. Why would you stay the same forever? Right? So that's a whole different episode for a whole nother day. Okay. So we are here at our big announcement. I have merch for the podcast, #JTFIO. I'm going to plug it right here. Check it out. All right, so just for you guys, we have a pre-sale going on for Black Friday. After, I think, December 1st, I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to cut it off. But yeah, we're doing a big pre-sale. I want to see how many of these shirts you guys want to purchase. You got the brand on the sleeve, #Camerae Music TV. You got #JTFIO on the back, just trying to figure it out. Because we are just trying to figure out life for real. Like, just trying to figure out bills, just trying to figure out school, just trying to figure out work, just trying to figure out how to be married, just trying to figure out how to be a mom, right? For some of y'all, not for me. Just trying to figure out a new job, a new career, you're just trying to figure out a lot of things. Why not rep the brand? We got sizes from small to 2XL. If you need a size bigger than that, hit me up. But yeah, pre-sale. All the prices, all the information is going to be in the description box below. But yeah, I'm super excited. We are growing. I'll see you guys next time on the next episode of #JTFIO, or just trying to figure it out. I'm Camerae.